So here, guys, I introduce you to Pallavi Chandra, who is a senior data analyst at Rapido.
Yeah, hi, Aishi.
Hello, Pallavi. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So, Pallavi, today our audience is just gathered here to hear about your career journey, your experience, how you have transitioned, so even they can transition in this career, and any insights, any good inputs that you have related to data analytics that you have to share, that you want to share with the students. We'll be discussing all that in this session. So, shall we get started?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the first thing I would want is that you can just introduce you and your career background and also like your current role, and then we can jump on some questions that are asked by students themselves.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, hi everyone. I'm really excited to be here. I'm Pallavi Chandra, and I have around 8.5 plus years of experience into this field of data, per se. And I started my basically journey of going in the passion of the data or data science from my bachelor's research, where I first time worked on something called neighborhood rough sets, and from there on, I think I got very much passion in data science, and from there on, it never stopped for me. From there, I joined Ericsson as a data engineer. I got an opportunity from four different companies, MNCs, but I chose Ericsson because it was about the big data, and it was into R&D, and we were doing a lot of research in the big data field as a data engineer. My journey began from there, and I worked at Ericsson around 3 years. And post that, I went for my master's from Arizona State University in public policy analysis. And during my master's, I got ample opportunities to work on different um, data science per se applications of data science in different domains and different research. As to say, like I worked as research assistant under many of the professors, like three, four professors. I used to go for conferences and readings, which was basically about system design and how can we use complex system designs and solve problem of the complex system design using the system design approach plus the data science approach. I used to be part of those, I think, conferences and reading section. I also have worked in various organizations. I got an opportunity to work for international organization like United Nations, where I worked once again on the research side plus then report writing. So ninth Secretary General report was written by me on the United Nations Harmony with Nature. If you ever go on their portal, it will be mentioned. I got an opportunity to work even in the law and how they use data science approach, which is a kind of a mix of qualitative plus quantitative approach. And there I got like insight like how they apply this data science in formulating many of the policies. So I worked at Earth Law Center, where one of their projects was all about like basically filing a human rights lawsuit over there in Ecuador. In Ecuador, how basically we can apply this data and show them the evidence that this is what is degrading the environment and we have to save it. So there are different applications of data science, and it's just it gives us like evidence to showcase that okay, this is real. If any issue is there, if any problem statement is there, this actually is real. It many times provides you that evidence. And post that, I also got an opportunity, which I think it is one of my best job, and I would say my first job as well. That was at Center for Biodiversity Outcomes Lab, which is basically part of like life sciences. And there I worked as a statistical data analyst. And I got an opportunity to basically get an hands-on on the entire aspect of advanced, I would say, statistical analysis. And post that, I worked in US like for 1 year under my professor, and after that, I joined Datasets, which is a company, as a data analyst plus data engineer because it was a startup. And post that, I plan to move back to India, and I joined Rapido as a senior data analyst. And there I'm working as in the marketplace. Here we do most of our data analytics towards marketplace side. We're trying to make a bridge between demand and supply kind of thing. And yeah, it has been 4.3 plus years of experience at Rapido, and it has been a wonderful journey here. Yeah, so that's all.
That's a lot many years. And the amount of experience it shows in all these years. You have worked with a lot of great companies, I say.
Yeah, I've been fortunate. Like I have worked with like on different, I would say, domains altogether. So whether it was life sciences, which where it's completely different. Of course, the entire data analysis per se is same, but the approach they give a lot of emphasis on reading research papers and so forth. So that is kind of different. And when it comes to businesses like Rapido or even the data is it's quite different. So Rapido is a product based company. It's in mobility. Here, the use of data analysis is very very different than when I was working at Datasets in US, which was a service based company, and we have the clients, and their data analysis and technical things were different altogether. So yeah, like over the span, it has been quite a different journey. And when I even interned at Maricopa County at US as well through the scholarship, that time also the government also had uh, like in US government, you have something called a statistical data analyst who does a lot of data analysis using Stata or SPSS softwares and so forth. And there also, I got a chance to work on a few of the data, handling their data side as well. And their entire picture is all different altogether, like the way you deal with US government employees and seniors and directors and all, and their ask is very very different from what a business ask is. And similarly in the when I was working in with the law, that is completely different. But one thing which is same is the basics of that, like the basic stats is the same, remains the same. The way we read the research papers, that is the same. It's just that some places it's very very agile, like in businesses, and some places, yeah, you can wait and it goes through a different model altogether. But yeah, it's quite a journey. I
Yeah,
would.
it
Yeah.
sounds like quite a journey, definitely. Great. I also want to know, since a lot of students know about Rapido, so how do you guys perform analytics? Like, not exactly how, but yeah, how your role is working there. I would like to know that. Our students also would love to know that. Like,
Yeah,
a
sure.
little brief on that.
Yeah, sure. So at Rapido, when I joined, so it was a startup basically. So when I joined Rapido, then it was per se, I would say I was involved into almost everything because the teams were not very much formed except for the marketplace, which is per se, which takes care of, the basically to make the demand meet the supply, and the supply should get the demand like properly, the matching should happen, and there should not be any lag between both of them and so forth. In that we were building different segments, because in that, like, you have to build algorithms around, like which can match your driver to you. So how can we build the algorithm on that? So I have worked in that part as well. And then if it is a very high demand area, then like, which we call it like hotspot, it's a very famous concept in data analysis world. So how to build those kind of hotspots, so I have been involved into that as well. But then later on, like after getting involved, like after all these teams and everything was formed, and having like here and there everywhere working in different aspects and different products, I then got involved into, like, majorly as a team, I got interested into pricing a lot. And then I I have been with pricing team for I think 3 years, where we do a lot of like dynamic pricing, which nothing means, but I mean whenever you open Rapido or Uber or anything, and if it's like a peak time or a peak demand area, then you will see, oh, you will be charged 3x or you'll be charged 2x, something like that. So how the algorithm behind that, or what kind of data analysis goes behind that to make you like, okay, you should get only 2x over here, but like when you are near Royal Meenakshi Mall, you'll get that 2x. But when you are at my home, you'll not get that 2x. So how those kind of analysis is done on the go, and how what those algorithms are. So all those things with the part of the pricing team, and I was majorly involved into those kind of threads, those kind of projects, which was quite an interesting journey. And currently, I am working with a utilization team, which is nothing but like how can we improve the efficiency of the drivers, and how can we make them happy at our platform? Like, what are the different ways we can, give them as many rides as possible so that they are happy or they feel rewarded? What are the different kind of rewards which we can give, and so forth? So I think that is a different uh, business problem altogether. Yeah, so that's something very, very interesting for me. And for me also, this is one thing which I like about data science, because every time you jump into a different problem statement, or a different system altogether, then you will have a different kind of data science solutions, and you will explore more on that. So let's say on hotspot, like I mean, for the students over here, they might have heard like a name called clustering or something. So you use that. But when it comes to utilization, you use entirely different altogether data science algorithms, which people may would have heard of, maybe ranking. Or if you are in pricing, you may have heard of a lot of like, recommendations, which is done. Like Amazon does a lot of recommendations on terms of pricing, also it does recommendation on terms of product, also it does recommendations. So what it is done, so like different kind of algorithms you deal with, and not only the algorithms but also the analysis which goes behind that, and then how this kind of business problems, different kind of business problems, they are translated into data science problem. I think that's one of the more major challenging part of that, and I really enjoyed that at Rapido.
That definitely sounds very exciting. I mean, these are the problems that problems not only, but we see the apps. We just book it. We see that okay, the prices are higher, and we don't know the algorithms behind it. But you guys are doing it on the background. So yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty it's actually very challenging. All the problem statements are very challenging, and it's at the same time it's very interesting also, and it gives an opportunity or a platform to, upskill yourself, learn yourself, learn on like different things. Okay, what can we do next? What can we do next? Kind of things. So yeah, I think yeah, it's really interesting. It has been interesting for years.
That's great. So I think when you're working in a startup, you get comparatively a lot more challenges than you're working in a well-established company, right?
Yes, of course, Aishi. This is definitely there, because when it's a like, as you mentioned, well-established company, definitely you will get a lot of perks on the side of everything will be organized, within terms of organizational structure, or in terms of, product like milestones, or what product's vision, and so forth, a lot of things. But when it comes to startups, everything is, like a black box kind of like, what to do next? We have to do this also, that also, and you need to prioritize among all so many things, a few things out of that. And then yeah, of course, it has its own challenges in terms of that, definitely. So the first challenge is of the prioritization, that which needs to be prioritized, because everything is important then, and you don't have anything in place. The second challenge is that I won't say this is a challenge, but it gives you an opportunity to learn end to end. So, because this is in a startup, maybe when I joined, there was no demarcation. Right now, we have are little organized. We actually are very organized team now. But when I joined, there was no demarcation between a data engineer, or the development API, like who is developing the apps, or the data analyst team. So I also got an opportunity to work as a data engineer and build the ETL pipelines, or what we now call ML pipelines. And then on top of that, like, you also get a little bit involved into the development side as well, where you are making some kind of config changes and so forth. So I think this entire system altogether, you'll have a much more hold of that when you join a startup, because I think you will learn from the scratch, what we say, and many times, so you can learn from the scratch even when you are in a well established company, when they are making any product from the start, or maybe developing a major feature within a product from the start, then also you can learn a lot of things per se. So yeah, I think that's one I would say is give you an opportunity. Plus, at the same time, it will be a very aggressive environment, I would say, and it is going to be very, very challenging in terms of prioritization, which needs to be done and which need not to be done. So you have to take a lot of ownership on your shoulder, that okay, I have to do this as well, and so forth. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. You mentioned that you have done the work of a data engineer as well. You have done a work of a data analyst, and also like a machine learning. Machine learning. You have also worked on machine learning, right? So, how did you choose in the beginning of your career that you want to get into this field? What was your starting field, and how how was the transition happen? How did the transition happen if it was in the same field?
Yeah, so actually, Aishi, to be honest, like from the beginning, I was very much interested into research. When I was doing my bachelor's, from third year onwards, I got very much interested into research, and I got an opportunity to publish three papers, and like even go to conference. And when I was working on my last paper, which was on neighborhood rough set, as I mentioned, it was for me. That was a very interesting research, because it spanned over, I think, even after I left my bachelor's, I was still working on the paper to make it go and so forth. So I think that was, I would say, made me understand, okay, this is the field I'm very much interested into. So that was the entire paper was about, like, how do we deal with unstructured data, first make it into a very structured format, and then apply some kind of logic or algorithm to get to what we basically want. So basically, neighborhood upsets generally is nothing but it's like you have certain kind of data, and they all are similar to each other. Those kind of data can form like similarity with each other, and from there, how can you infer something out of it? If there is a similarity between them, then how can you infer? For example, if somebody is getting whether a person has a flu or not having a flu, then for that you have certain kind of data. Like, let's say the very similar ones to predict that a person has a flu or not is, first is temperature, then you can have a headache can be there, and so forth. So all these variables, how can they can lead into tell that okay, a person is having a flu or not having a flu. So this was the paper all about, like how can you translate that into so forth. And this actually gave me a lot of curiosity to know more about data science. This was the first point per se. I got even much more interested into data science, because I firmly believe that whoever wants to come in this field, they really need to have that passion to like do some kind of research and read different kind of research papers. I do think that many of the students, or like in previously also, I think if you want to go in this field, personally I feel that one should have this mindset, okay, this is not a one day thing, or okay, let me just the numbers can be pulled out, but it's not a one day thing. It needs to be in a research form. So it keeps on iterating itself, what we call reinforcement learning and all. It keeps on iterating itself. So I think that was my always has been my mindset that I want to do research kind of. So I think that's why I chose this field, and so far it has been like this. Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing. I think students have some question here, so we'll be addressing those questions one by one in a while, guys. So please be patient about it. Yes, we'll Pallavi will be answering your questions as well. So since this is also one of the students' question only, like when you got into analytics, what were the skills that you had to acquire in order to get into analytics? Like even for a beginner, so if we talk about skills, what do you think would be a skill set that a beginner should have in order to jump into analytics according to your experience?
See, so there are two kind of analytics, as I mentioned already. So one is the business side of which is will be in the product data science and all. The other is could be the consulting side where they do a little bit of research and then they, go into different kind of analysis or analytics or advanced methods they use and all. So in that, according to me, the basics one which any beginner needs to start with, from the technical side, I'll divide into three parts. One is the technical, other is the analytical one, and the third part I would say is related with this research and the extra like experimental design and so forth. So in the first part, in the technical one, the SQL and Python, and I would also suggest R, because R has been R is one of the um I would say, not language ID, whatever you say. It has been actually all the statistical packages to understand what are the different kind of data analytics tool which are used, or packages there, or different concepts there. They're actually been written by the professors themselves. So I firmly believe that one needs to have an understanding of R. It will be very easy to move to Python. And of course, Python is a very easy language for data scientists or data analyst or anyone who is doing any kind of data science. So I would say SQL, Python, and of course, like understanding of at least R, like basic of the packages like ggplot, CBPS packages there, and yeah, I mean, AES packages there, AR is there. So all those packages, like if they get a hold of that, that is very great. Um, Apart from that, this is the one side which is for the beginners. The second is analytical side, which is nothing but the statistics 101 is very much needed, so that we like, because many of the times even now, like when we are presenting to our BU heads or something about the results and all, immediately they will be asked a very basics one: what is the standard deviation of this? So the stats 101 is very much important for the beginners to understand those things. The other thing which is we say it applied maths, but I think to break it down, I would say linear algebra or matrix algebra, because that is the core behind many of the machine learning algorithms like regression and so forth. And the other is like there is differential equations as well, if they are interested into, like if their curiosity is and they want to go further into machine learning. So many of the industries still now they use something in machine learning called gradient boosting and random forest. And when it comes to gradient boosting, there is another also like a gradient descent technique for regression. So all these techniques uses a maths called differential equations and all. So I think these are the two maths at least, like not very high, just 101 of that will be very useful. Like for example, in matrix, what is the inverse of a matrix? What is matrix multiplication and so forth? So that will be very helpful for the students. And the third part is, I would say, is divided into two parts. One is called public service research, like how you should design a research. Even in businesses, we do a lot of research on, like for example, customers, on our products, or also we do a lot of research on like for example in mobility driver side. And similarly, if it's another delivery based platform like Swiggy or Zomato, they do even on the restaurant sites, and because these are three party marketplace and so forth. So that is one thing which is called like, in my masters it was public service research, but it could be just taken as research design. And the other is experimental design. So you may have heard of A/B testing or ABC testing. So
Right.
that is like the thing for if you are applying for any product based company, whether it's a startup, whether it's MNC, even if you're applying for any consulting, they do a lot of this kind of experimentation. So what actually is A/B testing, or when we do not do A/B testing, what is a pre-post and so forth. So in we do a lot of such things. So I think I'll just divide into this three parts, and this is very much needed for any data analyst because you'll be asked even in your interviews all these questions.
And how about the visualization tools? Like,
Yes, so I think Python is one when you're doing EDA, but if you are like making a dashboards altogether, then I would say like Tableau is used a lot, Power BI is used a lot. So this two, if you have, or any one, if you have, you'll catch up very easily, whichever that organization is using. For our organization, we use our in-house visualization tool, and before that, we were using Tableau at Rapido. And so, yeah, I think anything is fine, like whether it's Power BI or Tableau, or you can even go for Metabase. Like right now, we are using that. So,
okay, so you should know one, and then
one
like
should,
the rest are similar.
yeah, rest are similar. Power BI, you need to know DAX basically. That is a little different. But you'll catch up soon if you know Excel. Like, yeah, and of course, Excel is also needed because you need to crunch the numbers, show them immediately. So, yeah.
So, okay, you've mentioned a lot of things over here. So, just to put them in like one picture, if I ask that if there is, let's say, a non-IT background student as well, or any beginner student who wants to transition into the career of data analytics, what would you say would be an ideal roadmap, like how on which tool they should start learning with, and the rest of the tools as well. If I talk about the sequence as well here.
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. So, when it comes to roadmap, based on my experience, I would say don't go for technical. First, understand the problem. Because as a data analyst, when you are dealing with, data scientists, so whoever is your stakeholder, product managers, data scientists, and all, and they will come and give you a question, hey, I want this analysis to be done. You should have a clarity in mind, which is called product sense, that what questions I should quickly ask them before making any kind of dashboards. For example, they come up and they say, hey, make a dashboard on, how YouTube is performing. And some product manager from YouTube comes and if they just give you this question, you need to first figure out which are the metrics I should add. And you need to first understand what clarifying questions which are called I should ask them. So I think as a data analyst, I firmly believe like a lot of people may disagree with me because the product science should come the last and technical should come first. But I think this understanding is very, very important because this will give you a picture that what are the questions I need to answer. So for example, you may need to answer, let's say very basics one, that you may like to know that how many users have watched a particular video in last 7 days. Okay, so you formulated one question already in your head because you have got that sense like, okay, these are the metrics, these are this this is the entire ask. You have asked all the questions to your product manager. So I think that is very important to have, which is called product sense. There are different types of product sense. One is one is the one where you have to define the metrics. So you can start with that in product sense. I won't say that go for investigation and so forth. Just concentrate on only one, which is like defining metrics in product sense. So that should be like you can practice, you can take up any of the case study or whatever, like online is there are many things which are available. WsCube is also going to help you with that. So in that case, you have to basically first formulate those questions which are related with product sense, defining metrics. So this should be your first understanding. After you got, okay, how many number of users have watched YouTube videos in last 7 days. You can define your YouTube videos, like per video it could be, or any specific title of the video, or whatever you can define. This is my question. Now you know that you can extract this entire data using SQL, or you can extract this entire data using Python as well. Now comes your the two technical things, which is SQL and Python. And now you know your question, what you want from there. You have understood that what data you want to analyze, what data set you have to take, and everything. Now you can just work on your SQL and your Python. Like in SQL, you can just go through, your DML commands over here, like have like you need to master basically SQL. So you need to know what are the DML commands, what are the joins, how I have to make a different kind of joins. If title of the YouTube video is different from the customer's data set, how you can join both the data sets and so forth. And same thing, similar thing, just practice that in Python as well. How you perform a join using pandas in Python and so forth. So I think this should be your structure. So first the product sense, just take defining metrics as a basic, and then just do SQL and then Python. I think that should suffice everything.
Okay, so and what about the visualization? When do they should pick it?
So visualization, of course, like the SQL, whatever they are going to do, of course, they can visualize in Tableau. So definitely, like once you have just extracted your data, go for it. I would suggest start with Tableau because it's easy to, navigate and everything. So you can start with Tableau, and it won't take much time for you. You actually will start liking Tableau very easily. So it won't take much time also for you to understand what to use, like how to use the entire tool altogether. It's pretty easy actually, and I think if you just focus on that even 2 hours each day, then 7 days will be enough to just get a handoff on the tool, like what I need on a daily basis as a data analyst. So I think that will be all. I think that should be the structure, like defining the whatever it is, product science, defining metrics, and it will make your project also for you. So this the entire structure will form a project also for you, which you can showcase for in your portfolio or in your resume or anything as such. So yeah.
Okay, so to sum it up, start with starting with gaining a product sense. Then one can move towards fetching the data. For that, they can either use SQL or they can use Python as well. And then they can move towards visualizing whatever they have fetched
Yeah.
by using any visualization tool, and then your project will be ready.
Yeah,
So
your project will be ready. Yeah, definitely.
great. Okay. Acha, just I'll also keep it a little bit English for our audience as well here. So, हमने project के बारे में बात करी, right? That creates a project. How much do you think कि ideally कितने projects होने चाहिए for to start a data analyst role?
See, there are personally, I think there is no limit to this, definitely, because you need to practice as much as possible. But even after that, if you want to showcase, then I would say a lot of industry uses one continuous data, which is like time series data. So have a project in the first, have an understanding what is a time series data, make a project on that. That project could be a mix of your data analysis plus ML, because you can very easily do forecasting in that. So forecasting will once again will be machine learning. You don't need to do very broad in that. Second project, I would definitely say, let's say you cannot. I mean, it's not possible for anyone to do project in experimental design and do any kind of randomization and so forth. But I would suggest do a project which involves some kind of sampling,
Okay.
uh, which uses some kind of sampling technique. After that, you have sampled something, like showcase that, okay, you have used some kind of sampling, like it could be random sampling on the, based on, clustering and whatever it is. You just have to showcase that sampling technique. And in that, you can go ahead with, after using the sampling, you can, I don't know what could be the use cases when you cannot do in actual those kind of things. But what I mean by that, the second project should be on the line of, A/B testing. I know it's not possible for students to do that in project, but all you can do is just showcase them this sampling techniques, and after that, perform some kind of analysis and infer that for the population. So this is called, you have taken something from the samples and infer the same results, whatever you have got, to the population. Whatever could be that, okay, let's say if 5% of the people like ice cream in Bangalore, you can infer that for, okay, in Karnataka it could be, extrapolate. There are different kind of algorithms down that line, and you can say, okay, 15% of the population of, Karnataka, they like ice cream, so you can just infer that there. So I think
Right.
that should be your second project altogether. The third project, I would suggest, pick up anything which is of your choice, which should be on the line of product based case statement. So there are many kinds of business case problems. It could be could be recommendation system. It could be anything, like just pick up anything, apply any kind of machine learning algorithms. I would say better pick up in such a manner that uses, if you have already used another kind of machine learning algorithm in one of your projects, maybe related with, let's say, regression, then pick up another such project with a business case problem, which uses, clustering, some kind of clustering it uses. Then that will be, heavy on your machine learning part, like algorithm part. The first one already you have done on time series, which has given you forecasting as well. That already shows that you know the data analysis part as well. And the second one already makes you, that, okay, you know the nitty-gritties of, experimental design to a bit, and what the sampling techniques are and so forth. And the fourth one, you can just show the visualization of a simple that product metrics thing. Okay, so I have defined metrics for, basically the key performance indicator dashboard I have made using this, and you can just show your Tableau visualization, whatever you have done, which is nothing but just the basic data analysis based on aggregations and so forth. I think this four projects should be more than enough for any of the companies they apply to, whether it's a machine learning based company or whether they just do data analytics or any sort of such thing.
That actually sums up everything, covers every tool as well. There's one question in the chat that I'm often seeing. एक question है यहाँ पे from Ayushi Mathur. She says कि ML necessary है for the role of a data analyst.
Yes, it is necessary if you are applying for. It depends on the job description. Let's say if you are applying for in Rapido itself, if you're applying for different teams, like they may require you to know certain kind of MLs like logistic regression, or linear regression, or even the ridge regression, or L1 L2 regularization and so forth. So they may require you to have that. There could be some job descriptions which doesn't need all that. All they need is, SQL dashboards and all. But in Rapido right now, we do not have such thing. So if you are applying at Rapido for data analyst, you need to know, at least you need to know regression, classification, and clustering. Even if not all of them, at least one algorithm for each one of them, like logistic regression, linear regression, and for clustering, you can have, maybe take k-means, for example. So you do not need to go in, in depth of, nobody is going to ask you GMM based clustering and so forth, or classification. But at least this basics is asked even in the interviews, because every data analyst is supposed to do such kind of job, or such kind of algorithms they need to write, or sometimes they need to even evaluate this. There is something called model evaluation, so you need to even evaluate those models if they are working correctly or not working correctly. So it is needed, if you from the perspective of Rapido, if I would say, you need to know this basic algorithms for sure.
Also, it can help you stand out in the market, right? A lot of people, they don't know ML, they don't know good Python, even basics of Python. So it's some knowing Python, knowing ML can,
Yeah,
definitely help you stand out as well. Like, since the job market is very hefty right now.
yeah.
I have been bombing you with I know a lot of questions, and maybe if you want you can just take a break as well, and then like we will be continuing with some of the questions that are often being asked in the chat. If you want, you may take a break of like 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Okay. Meanwhile, guys, since here we are talking about um, since we are talking about the role of a data analyst, हम बात कर रहे हैं कि कैसे क्या क्या skills required है, how important it is to complete the projects, what kind of projects are covered, and also we are talking about कि product sense कैसे build करना है. Right. So if you want such kind of a program, jahan pe all these things which Pallavi mentioned, and apart from that, a lot of things are there which can help you build your career in data analytics, then I have like one amazing offer for you all. WsCube Tech is presenting its second data analytics mentorship programs cohort, which is starting in September, guys. If I give you a little brief on this cohort contains 5 milestones. As right now we talked about how important it is to learn maths, Python, and AI/ML as well. So we have entire milestones over here which are dedicated to these particular fields. Also, since some of the companies ask for Power BI, some ask for Tableau. We have another milestone which covers both Power BI and Tableau. So if you want to apply for the companies where they're asking for Tableau, you can apply for those. And if want to apply for Power BI, all the learning wouldn't be very hard. But yeah, we got you covered with both the tools as well. We have SQL, which is one of the important tool in the field of analytics, and also then there is Excel, which can help you get started. So these are the 5 milestone we'll be covering in this course, along with the mega capstone project. So we will also check that how your performance has been going on after completion of this cohort. So here we also have a mega capstone challenge where we have designed an interesting project for you all, which covers everything that you have learned so far. So you can apply all your skills in this project. Like, not just this project is there are so many other things. We have jam sessions planned for you all. In the jam sessions you can connect with your peers, you can learn from each other. We'll be discussing about the soft skills, how one can build the logic of product sense, how one can learn about different domains as well, as it is important to not just build projects in one single domain but in multiple domains. So we'll be covering those as well. We also have a 7 day mile prep for you all, so which contains a lot of things. Will help you build your resume, will help you modify your LinkedIn and optimize it, will help you build your GitHub repository so you can create a portfolio in GitHub itself. We'll be pitching for interviews for you all, so it's a hell of a task to pitch for interviews for yourself as well. So we'll be doing that for you. We'll be taking care of your placements. We'll take you to mock interviews as well, and also based on that, we'll be providing feedbacks to you all in this cohort. Also, if I talk about having a mentor, so having a good mentor in a program is very important. So here in this program, you'll be guided by all these mentors which are mentioned on the on the panel itself. So here we have Tushar from Amazon. We have Pallavi, who is in our session as well. She's from Rapido. And we have Muskan from Microsoft, Akshat from KPMG, and I myself will be there to guide you and to make you a data analyst actually. First data analyst, and then we'll be thriving for making you better and best. The outcomes of these programs are mentioned here. So it's important, right, that wherever program you are enrolled in, what we think about is getting a good placement. So here we got you covered with that as well. WsCube Tech's placement drive will help you switch your career into the role of analytics. If I talk about the companies that our recruiters are, these are some of the few companies who are recruiting for the role of analyst and are associated with us, and then there are many more uh, apart from these. And the cohort one, as if you guys have been following us up, our cohort one started in July. We had over 70 learners from 8 plus countries from more than 10 states, from which 35 plus were working professional and 30 plus were student. तो इतना सारा जब हमारे पास अलग अलग variety of people होते हैं, तो we get to learn a lot more, right? So this was a little details about our cohort one. I wanted to share this with you all so that आप लोगों को idea लगे कि if you enroll yourself in cohort two, what you guys can expect, right? Because it is also important कि हम जिस environment में हैं, see हमारी काफ़ी ज़्यादा learning उसी से enhance हो जाती है कि अगर if we have an environment जहाँ पे other people are also learning the same thing but also struggling with a lot of other things as well, not just struggling but some are doing better, we learn from them. If someone is not doing better, we help them. So there's so much thing that happens in a cohort. This is why I'm just sharing this data with you all. And as I said, our cohort is starting in September. So there are limited seats available. The link to this cohort is available in your chart. So if you want to be a part of this cohort, uh, apply now and our team will get in touch with you as soon as possible. We also have an early bird offer, so which is just for first 50 seats. So hurry up as the offer will end soon. Also, if I talk about the project, since I didn't mention projects over here, we'll be covering more than 20 projects in this cohort. So, whether it's related to visualization, whether it's related to machine learning, different techniques of machine learning, simple EDA using Python, that is also something we are covering in this cohort. So, yeah, it's like a full package, contains everything, whether it's technical skills, soft skills, whether you want to build a portfolio, whether you want help with your resume, your LinkedIn, we got you covered with all of that. So it's basically an amazing opportunity which I wanted to share with you all. If you are interested in this, then there's a link that has been provided in the chat. You can apply now for with that. All right. You guys can also keep dropping your questions in the chat as me and Pallavi will be addressing we both will be addressing those as well. For any certificates or any attached copies of this podcast session, you can just join our WhatsApp community as well. So you'll find everything, every links there itself. Okay, so keep dropping your questions in the Q&A and me and Pallavi will answer that. I hope Pallavi you're back.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. There's just one more question that I have from my end. Is that it? A lot of students, they are from non-IT backgrounds, right? Or even analytics is something which is completely new for them. What do you think would be a challenge that they would face, or any challenge that you faced in your transition, which you want to share with everyone, or what do you think would be a challenge for them and how they can maybe overcome that?
I think for me, the challenge, so there are, even in the non-IT, let me just put it this way. So in non-IT, like what I observed, like when I was in doing my master's in public policy analysis, so we're a mix of students. Some people were from economics background, some people were from, IT, like computer science background, some were basically were civil servants and so forth. So based on that, what I can see, like what we all struggled all together, I would say for me, even though I was from technical background, so for me, SQL Python was not an issue because I was a data engineer. I was from that background, in the computer science background, so that was not an issue. The second thing which was not an issue was machine learning algorithms, because in computer science we were taught like many of these feedback loop and so forth thing. The one thing which that was not an issue for me. So first I will address like what was an issue for me, and then I'll just say what like on behalf of all my friends and colleagues with whom I did my projects, and we all were from different countries and different professions. So what challenge I faced per se was the basically the understanding of the different ask. For example, when I was working at the Earth Law Center, and whatever data they needed, before the data, the stakeholders or the lawyers and everyone, they were not interested um, into like direct quant data. Like they first wanted to understand what's actually is the issue, and you give me with the data the recommendations later on. But what we should first, which data we should look at, that like how we should solve this problem, what should be the first approach to this problem. So I think that translation part of what the business asks is something I think I have learned over the years, but that was the most challenging part. Even in my school curriculum also, I think that was the most challenging part for me, for different of the different subjects or different curriculums. But I think for me per se, this was the, I would say, was the major challenge. And the second one is we do a lot of analysis per se with using Python or using SQL. How to summarize those things? It's very important to be good at the summary of the entire picture of the data and present them in the form of storytelling, what we call the art of storytelling and so forth. So in that also, like over the period of time, like I've learned those things as well, like which one to show first, how to summarize the entire data. Even if you have the data here and there, you will end up doing a lot of analysis, how to summarize all that. And since there is a lot of information, how to, when you are doing those analysis, remember many of the numbers which are important. So I think this were the few of the challenges which I faced and overcome over the years. And the second one, which I would say on behalf of my friends who are from non-IT background, definitely for them, they I would divide them into two parts. One is if they have done, like if they're from economics or psychology background, or if they happen to be in even in India or like US. I can just, since I know these two countries, they will be knowing to some extent the data analysis using certain softwares like Stata and SPSS. So transition for them from there to Python will not be an issue, because they can easily make that transition. If they don't want to make the direct transition from there, they can actually like stop at R, and from R, like it forms a basically a bridge between the Stata, SPSS, and so forth softwares, and then from R they can just go into Python. They did face challenges in learning SQL initially, but definitely, like I know a couple of friends even now, like they now are master into that as well. So I think it comes with the practice. It comes with
Definitely.
uh, definitely like if you have a good mentor, good teachers, and everyone, it definitely helps you a lot. The second thing which I would say was in the category of like social science people who are very good in storytelling, who are very good in research writing. But the in between, which is the data analysis part, which is the bridge part, I would say that for them, the struggle starts even with the Excel. I'm talking on the basis of like I don't know much, but my friends, like I had those kind of we were formed groups and so forth. So Excel in that itself, like I think it was a bit challenging for them. And as we know that a lot of data analysis, even the optimization algorithms can also be done using Excel, like linear programming and so forth. Everybody knows that. But when it comes to those kind of doing, KNN or so this kind of algorithms using Excel, it was a bit challenging. Not only for them, it was challenging even for me as well, because I was not that advanced level in Excel and so forth. But they picked up the basics of Excel, which is like average, count, sum, like what are the aggregations part of it, and filling all that. That were the basics, which is there, like aggregation of the data part, that they picked up from Excel very well. So leaving all those advanced ML concepts through Excel and all that, the aggregation part to show, like do a very basic thing, and loading a normal data set into Excel and do that, that was done by the if you're from non-IT, I would suggest first go for that Excel, and learn the basic of aggregations, basic of visualizations as well. Like you have pie chart, you have bar chart, and how this is done, and you have even basics of linear regression, just to see that what is the relationship between price and demand, or something like two variables and so forth. So that one can very easily do. Once you have done at least this basics of Excel and so forth, I would highly recommend people. I know that it's nowadays in market nobody talks about it, but I really think that if you're from non-IT background, don't jump into. You can do R, but I would suggest, like, before R, if you are not even able to pick up R as well, um, then I would say that Stata software is there. It's very, very easy. Just pick up that first, then next R, and then you yourself will see how Python is easy for you. So I know that your roadmap is going to be longer, but I would still suggest that this way, when you follow this path in this data, you will not only understand how to use many of IT commands and syntaxes and so forth, which is even used in Python, even used in R as well, but you will also get a hold of a lot of statistical concepts, because it's so well written and documented and everything. There is entire documentation to help you as well. So I myself have started like with this data, then R, and and Python, and of course I knew even before doing my masters. But I think that I will really suggest, because I know many of my non-IT friends who are mastered in Stata, and then they mastered into R, and later on they shifted into Python, and they have mastered Python as well, and it was very, very easy for them. And I know one of my friend who finished after, since she learned all these things together, she finished her entire Python course, and she did her entire data analysis in Python within just 3 months. So entire project she was able to do that. So I think that should be your path. But if you're from economics background, or econometrics background, or maths background, I would say that you can start with R, and even if it is not needed, you can definitely start with Python, and I think it should be fine with you. And after Python, you can shift to SQL if you want.
For
That's
sequel, I would say that practice is the key.
Yeah.
It's difficult for a lot of people, and only with the practice they can just gain even a little confidence on it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it need actually, so it's like I would say, based on me, like what I used to do when I was preparing for interviews and all, I used to practice daily 5 to 6 SQL questions from different platforms. I used to practice daily those 5 to 6 SQL questions, and I also used to practice Python coding, at least two programs to do like daily, like for data science. I'm not saying per se for programming for development and all. Just for the data science, I used to practice two Python questions and 5 to 6 SQL questions daily before giving interviews to different companies and all.
Okay, since we are on the topic of interview, I have picked this question from the chat itself. So this Kavya has to ask, ma'am, how to move ahead to jobs and interviews after acquiring all the necessary skills.
Move ahead in the sense like applying.
applying maybe, and what how you can self analyze that you are ready for now applying for the job?
Okay, so I don't know if it works for everyone, but I used to give mock interviews. I really used to give mock interviews. Like it started with
They are
my
really very helpful.
friends, and then my mentors, like anyone. Like I used to give just mock interviews, and I still remember my first mock interview because I was very scared of product sense. Side from first to 20th mock interview, I had gained the confidence. So I would say average give 20 mock interviews, you gain the confidence. But I think that's the only way to assess yourself. Just give the mock interview in whichever you are not confident. If you're not confident in SQL, have a mock interview on SQL, like on SQL questions with anyone, any of your peer, any of your mentors. Like in WsCube also, you have a lot of mentors. You can just ask anyone, can you just pair me up like on WhatsApp group or anything. I think that does, like, that will boost your confidence before the interview as well. And keep on applying. When you're giving this mock interview, when you have finished like 3 to 4 mock interviews, you know where your weaknesses are, or where you need to work more on that. And whatever your strength area is, you will make that demarcation. Then I think after fourth or 3 or 4 mock interviews, start applying for companies, whatever, so like positions, uh, open positions are there in data analysts.
Yeah, that would be a great way to do move ahead actually. Mock interviews help a lot. Like you can get a feedback as well from the mentor that how you're performing and what could be improved.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is one good way. I also noticed there is one more way. Like when you apply in any of the companies, if you're applying in any of the companies, connecting with the people in those companies would also be very helpful. Like they also help you a lot. I've seen this happening with a lot of students. So
Yeah, but that will be in the form like helping. I mean, like you mean reference kind of?
not the reference, but how was their interview experience, and then they can share some tips or maybe
Oh, yes.
questions as well.
The informational interview, right, which we call. Yes, informational interviews definitely help a lot. It also helps in networking a lot. And you can also present yourself, like, and so forth. So, yeah, information interview definitely helps. What their experience is at the company for which you're applying for, what questions they were asked, what are the challenges, like all those, like, but you'll have to prepare all the questions for the informational interview yourself, and you have to be very polite to ask them.
Yes. There's one more question that I'm seeing in the chat looks interesting as well. This which is from Krishna. Uh, he has to say that I have completed BCA a couple of months back, and right after completing, I decided to become a data analyst and started learning about it. Now I somewhat know about Excel, SQL, and Power BI. I've been applying for jobs, but no response from from the other side. Now I'm in the place where I don't know what to do, whether I should do an internship or join some other job now.
So, if it's a couple of months back, don't lose hope, I would say. With this competition and all, definitely don't lose hope. And I would say, right now, do not be picky about the companies. I still remember when I was doing my job search, I used to apply to 200 applications daily. And I use on LinkedIn, I used to give a connect to 50 to 100 people daily. This was like I literally was doing this. So keep on doing that. Second thing, if resume is something, if you're worried about ki why my resume is not getting picked up, or my bot is doing this or that, then I would suggest like you can get that resume checked at WSQ by mentors, or you can I mean in LinkedIn also you can do your resume check. So you need to have that resume check, like what the job is requiring, and in the current setup, what kind of resume uh, you know, uh, the companies are looking for. It's quite different what it was, when I made my first resume for my first company and so forth. So it has gone like the market has changed a lot, the entire labor market. So make sure in resume whatever you are mentioning, even if you have done SQL, Power BI and everything, just mention the like mention in such a way your keywords. Or let's say in SQL, if you have done some project just on the SQL or extraction of the same, just make sure to highlight like, okay, I have used window functions over here, I have used like four joints or something like that. Like just highlight those, because whoever gives the resume, even me myself, like when we review the resume, we just take just 30 seconds to go through each resume. So make sure in 30 seconds they read each and everything whatever you have done. If any bot is not reading, if a bot is reading, then there are many of those resume checkers even LinkedIn provides, which is similar to whatever the companies are also using for the bot. But I would really say that you can first get your resume checked. Second, I would say, make I don't know, but this was my strategy. I used to apply for 200 applications daily. I used to make like 200, like I used to have an Excel sheet. When I hit that 200 button, like this is a list of companies I have to apply. When I hit that 200 button, I will just make red mark, and then I'll switch to LinkedIn Connect, and then I will just send the connect, like when you don't have the premium, all you can do is just connect and make a small note. So I will just go to the website, I'll check that, okay, this is the job position which is available, and then I will just message so many people for the reference and so forth. So I never used to be shy, but yeah, I was very polite to ask, like, if I made a proper template for that, and if they accept my request, then I have made an entire template for that as well. And used to make sure that I send that to at least 100 people a day. So yeah, I think I know job search is very, very tiring, because daily I had to do the same thing, same thing, same thing, and then mark in my Excel sheet, red color, that okay, I have reached the 200. But I think we need to do, and right, and that time when I was looking for my first job as data analyst, I was not very picky. I was ready to do, any, like I was applying to any, services industry, consulting, product based, any such company. And yeah,
I mean, for the start, yeah, start of the career, you cannot be picky. You
yeah.
just have to grab any opportunity that you're getting.
Yeah, and make sure your resume is solid. If let's say, or if a company is asking for a project, which I used to do. So let's say one company was asking for like some project, it was, and I did not had that in my resume. So what I did, I just quickly checked for a few of the, you have this hackathon. Um, so I used to I basically subscribed their email, so I checked that tech hackathon. They had one hackathon going on like similar what that company was looking for, the project. So I quickly participated in that hackathon. It was free of cost, like you just have to participate in the hackathon. I made that project, submitted in the hackathon, and same thing, I added that in my resume as well. So if something you are missing in your project, you will have to make that effort to make that project and quickly put that in your resume. So yeah, it's a lot of hard work and a lot of
Definitely.
patience and tiring nature will be there for job search. So don't lose hope. And I think I kept on doing this for 6 months, and after that, like, yeah, I got my job.
How much networking played a role in this journey?
Definitely, it played a lot of role for me. Like, even if I got a lot of referrals, reference through that, and the Rapido also I got through referral only. So I
Oh,
think
nice.
working. really helps you. Let's say if you don't get a referral through that, um, what it helped me actually is, since I was connected with so many people, I got involved into many of the research projects which when they were doing, or if they were starting any kind of, any projects by themselves, or if they were interested into, like starting their own startups or per se. And that time also, like I got a lot of, whoever had been my connects, that, hey, Pallavi, I know that you were, like we connected this back and all. I'm doing this research, can you do this research? Because whenever I mentioned, right, I had the template, so in my template I will always mention that I have a deep interest in research. So I think they had in mind, maybe because whenever I had one strategy I used to follow. I never used to make connects with like HR. Like I never used to send emails or messages on LinkedIn to HRs, and I'll never message to like if I'm applying for data analyst, then another data analyst, because I think the hiring position will be decided by someone who is at managerial level. So I will always make sure that I email or message someone at the managerial level, or let's say lead data scientist or lead data analyst, because they will be maybe the hiring managers for the role. I don't know. Sometimes LinkedIn message post that, sometimes they don't post who is the hiring manager. So I used to make that format, and I think because of that, I have got many of those kind of this kind of projects apart from Rapido work, which helped me upskill myself. And even at Rapido, like, this kind of side projects and everything, that has helped me upskill myself, because many of the projects cannot be done at Rapido, like for example NLP. And because of this connects and everything and alumni and so forth, I have been able to do a side, like, NLP project, and that has helped me, upskill myself in a lot of things. Or even in the sense of ranking algorithm,
Mhm.
like currently I'm using even at Rapido, but before that, like I use this in another product, project. So that helped me upskill every times and see what's going in the area. But yeah, like my deep interest was in research, and luckily they maybe remembered when I made the connect. So even if I made the connect 2 years back, they remembered and they reached out to me that, hey, I remember you were interested into this project. And many of them have been research scientists and so forth, and working on many of the research papers or journals. So yeah, since I'm interested into research, I keep on doing that.
Okay, that's really amazing. This is actually a really great strategy that I heard from you. That okay, when you're applying for like a lot of jobs, you can keep a track of that. You can keep it in Excel. You can design a template. You can network with people. Not do not network with the HRs, but instead managers, right? So you can. So it's a great strategy, right? Nice.
Yeah, definitely
Okay.
that will work, surely, because they will because that based on that, because first when I messaged a lot of HRs and so forth, they could not respond back to me, because I got very few responses. So I understood that,
True.
okay, I need to contact the hiring managers who are in charge of the hiring managers. Or even when I contacted like someone, since I was applying for senior data analyst itself. So, like whoever has been senior data analyst, I mean, even after referral, it was, like interview was not scheduled or it got cancelled or so forth. Then I mean, slowly, I learned what works or what does not work. So I think this strategy worked a lot for me. I got, like, I was fortunate, like, I got a lot of references and interview calls because of that. Yeah.
Okay, so networking and sharing
Well, very first,
creating good templates, they help a lot.
yes, yes, yes.
A lot of people, students I hear, they are very shy to even send requests to people, but they don't know the power of it. That how much they can it can help in their career.
Yeah, yeah. Don't be shy. It's a capitalist economy. So don't. Sorry about it. But be very humble and polite when you ask them. Don't ask directly for, referral, or I never used to ask directly for referral. And make sure that you go to the job portal and check if they have any job opening or not job opening. If there is no job opening, just say that I'm interested in your organization, but I don't see any open positions. Please let me know if you have any open positions or something like that. But be very polite and humble, and yeah, and don't directly ask for a referral. First ask her, I'm interested into this, I have this is expertise, I can contribute into this way, and please let me know if you're open for a discussion. If they say, yeah, hey, give me your resume or something like that, then you can proceed with that.
That's great. Okay. So I think I have we have a lot of questions in the Q&A. If you would like, you can just pick one or two, and you can just answer them.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, so I think there is a Ripu Gaur who has asked, can you recommend some research website where we can practice data analytics and practice our strategy? Yeah, sure. So there is something called Data World, where you have the free SQL. Like you can run if you don't have MySQL or PostgreSQL or anything installed in your system. They have a lot of data sets as well. From like a lot of people contribute data sets into that, and you can practice from there. So that is one thing. In regarding the research website, um, I'm not sure like which kind of research you would be interested into, but I personally like use JSTOR a lot. It's called JSTOR, which mostly has many researches done on the line of data science, and of course there's LCVR. Everybody knows about that. And in the nature is also there, but nature will you will get the idea of data science, but the problem statements will be more towards life sciences, or something related with environment and like nature, as the name suggests. So for businesses, if you want to have, I think LCVR, like Uber has also published into that, like a lot of basically research related with mobility, ride sharing, and all, Uber, DoorDash, and all those, they have published into LCVR. And the other is JSTOR is one like library kind of thing, where you can find a lot of research papers. Like you can find research papers related with LCVR as well there.
There's one question that I picked. It's a student asked that can a data analyst earn a 6 to 7 figure salary? If yes, what are the steps to reach there? A kind of a question that every student is curious, because as salary is the only aspect they are looking for.
Definitely. Salary is the first thing. I think here I will divide your question into two parts. The first thing is definitely you upskilling yourself, and you have to work hard towards that. And let's say till the point you are not getting, you're still giving in the process of giving interviews, application, and all. What you can do is don't stop yourself only through this and keep on reading. um avail some time, like 8 hours of time per week, or 10 hours of time per week, and do some kind of you can do freelancing projects, maybe. Like that could be one strategy to do that. That will give you an idea of, first thing, what are the different kind of projects and ask in the businesses in the shorter scale. And the second is, of course, like it will help you upskill from the perspective of what is a client or business stakeholders ask is, and how can you provide them the solution as a data analyst using data. So you will get a nitty-gritties of how basically an organization work or a business work. So I think that could be the strategy. So when you add that in your resume that you had been working as a freelancer in these projects or something like that, that adds value when you negotiate for the salary, which is the second part. So even if you are a data analyst and first time, it's a first job and you don't have anything to negotiate per se, you can very well say that, hey, look, I have done this particular project as a freelancer. I got this proposal submitted and it got accepted, and so forth. I was being paid maybe, let's say, for example, $30 per hour, and I worked for 10. So according to that, my that's how I want to negotiate. So you can just tell that, okay, I can bring this one. I know how to talk with the stakeholders. I know how to present to them. So presentation is another thing. All these things are the other aspect of data analyst, like how to present your numbers, how to talk them, because they are also non-technical people. So you can't go and talk to them about machine learning algorithm and all. All they need to know is that what are you recommending? What were your findings? So how can you translate to a non-technical person? So if you can showcase that, right, that, hey, this is what I have done, that will really help you even in your negotiation for your salary. And definitely you can reach seven figure, like seven zeros and all figure very easily. It's not a big deal. But yeah, like you have to
Be
basically,
confident
yeah,
what you're bringing to the table.
you have to be very confident, and that confidence can come with the hard work of
Hard work,
doing
definitely.
a lot of projects and so forth. And at WsCube also, like, we all have designed different kind of case studies from different businesses basically. So like what will be the case study of an Amazon, what could be the case study of make my trip, so something like that. So I think that will be something of your interest, like, and that could really really help you to, when you're talking also during your interview, it will give you an idea how to solve those kind of case studies or provide those kind of insights. So yeah, it's not a big deal, but yeah, like that could be one strategy to negotiate your salary in the first go itself, and at least in the first go itself reach to seven figure salary. So that's I think that definitely should work.
True. Any I mean, you have given so many answers today, like talking about your own experience, giving students that experience about how they can transition their career, right? So any last words that you have for the student, like closing words, do you have it for students that you want to share with everyone, maybe about the career of in the field of analytics?
Yeah, sure. I think in the field of analytics, I would say it's not just a one-day process. So don't rush. Of course, I know it's job search. Getting a job is very, very tiring when you have some dream or you have some goal. Um, but I would say, like, definitely in your pathway, your mentors help you a lot. So do have a trust on that for your whoever is your mentor. And it's very important to strategize your journey. Like, for example, the entire session was all about that, right? What is the roadmap? So it's very important that you follow that roadmap and do not take any shortcut for that. So I think that will really really help you guys to reach where you want to, like whatever your dream or goal is there for as a data analyst. So this is the JSTER, it's called. You can just type JSTER, you will find for the this is a research website.
That was a great piece of advice, Pallavi. And thank you so much for joining us in this session. And you helped a lot of students here today about their career transition, about their any confusions about the career in analytics.
Okay. Yeah, happy to help. Yeah, of course, I'm here for that only. Join us,
That's
course,
great.
you'll find me. as one of your mentors, and but definitely I'll help you there as well.
Right. So, guys, as Pallavi mentioned, that a course at WsCube Tech, which is the second cohort, which is starting in September. We are launching it in September. So the link to that cohort is in your chat section. If you want to be a part of it, if you want to work on different case studies of different domains, learn different tools, whether it is soft skills, technical skills, you can apply now, and our team will reach you out on that. Thank you so much, everyone, for being such a patient audience. Thank you, guys, and thank you so much, Pallavi, for joining us here.
Thank you, Ayushi, for having me here, and thanks all of you, all the very best for your whatever your goal, whatever your dreams are. May you get there, and there is no shortcut to hard work, but you need to be smart and strategizing everything, because everybody knows like today's era is full of competition. So strategize yourself, and make that formal roadmap, and no shortcut to hard work.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you, everyone. Thanks, guys. Thanks
Bye.
for joining.
Bye.
Bye bye.